you're going to clean up that feces, Hex.
Yes, all right. Well, look, we've had this in the office for a little while now, and a few more games have arrived for us to have a look at, so we thought we'd give you a bit of a roundup of the games that we've been playing. First up, Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition.
Today I shall win again.
It's the battle of the century! Fight!
Street Fighter can be a fairly complex game, so I was interested to see how they'd port it to the 3DS, and I think for the most part they've done a pretty good job.
The 3D adds a nice enhancement to the characters and backgrounds, but the action is still kept firmly on a 2D plane, just as the original arcade game was over 20 years ago. You'll be using the circle pad or the D-pad to control your fighter, while using A, B, X, Y and the shoulder buttons to perform your attack moves.
But the touchscreen also comes into play here. It's divided into 4 sections, each with a personal action attached to it for easy access, and these are basically just your super moves and combos. This is in the light mode button configuration, and it really takes the stress out of fumbling with button combinations for beginners. If you're a seasoned Street Fighter fighter though, then you can head into options and switch to Pro mode, and that way you'll restrict yourself to performing these moves manually.
I like that when you go online you can filter by what sort of playstyle your opponent is using, and I think if it wasn't like that it would be unbalanced.
I stuck to light mode, but I certainly wasn't on Easy Street. It's still a tactical affair, especially with timing your moves correctly. Combo moves aren't always available on your touchscreen, so you have to use them wisely when they do appear. Every now and then a devastating ultra combo would become available and I just get excited and use it right then and there, but if you're not in the right position or you don't time it correctly, it can leave you open for a pretty bad retaliation.
Guide you.
Bingo!
An interesting feature is the option to play in a separate mode which places the camera over the shoulder of your fighter.
Yeah, I like the look of that, Darren, and I think it demonstrates the 3D in the best way, but as for actually playing like that, I'm not sure if it's the most practical. I found it a little more difficult to judge the distance of my opponent, as opposed to when I was just playing from the standard perspective.
Yeah, it's a cool feature, but I doubt anyone would ultimately choose to play that way. It does look great though. In fact, the whole game looks really beautiful. There's no animations in the backgrounds, but I felt that the whole look and feel of the game feels really true to the Street Fighter series, and I love those commentator lines as well.
The fight card is filled in. Which of these warriors will prove their strength to the world?
Well, I think purists might have an issue with the way the touchscreen has been incorporated.
Maybe, Darren, but I think they did a really good job with this. It's definitely one of the meatier launch titles for the 3DS, and I just love all the little car-smashing bonus rounds and all the costume alternatives, so I'm giving this one 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, I thought it was great too. I'm going to give it 8 as well. Next up, Nintendogs and Cats.
If you're unfamiliar with the Nintendogs series, it's a real-time pet simulation game where you'll be taking your new puppy out for walks, teaching it various tricks, keeping it clean and fed, and generally being really cute with it.
Nintendogs plus Cats for the 3DS is, as you may have guessed it, a sequel with the inclusion of kittens, but the focus is still mainly on the puppy side of things. In fact, you can't really do much with the cat at all, and there's far more breed options available for dogs.
There are 3 versions of the game available, each beginning with 9 different dog breeds, depending on which version you choose. But all 27 breeds are unlockable through gameplay with each version, so you won't be missing out. There are no robot dogs or cats, however, which I found both disappointing and deeply personally upsetting.
Oh, Darren, well, you're kind of like a pet to us.
I think you'll find it's the other way around, Bajo. Good boy.
Well, gameplay is very much the same as the previous one. After choosing your breed of puppy and taking it home, you'll need to name it and teach it to recognize its name by calling out to it. Gollum! 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 I found, Hex, that sitting alone by myself in my home, yelling out my pet's name over and over again, made me feel a little bit strange, and it might not be something you want to do in public.
I was really annoyed that I couldn't just start the game with a kitten and then subsequently enter it in cat shows or something. I mean, I'm unashamedly a cat person. I thought it was silly that they didn't at least give you the option. After you've had the dog for a while, it's only then that you can go to the kennel and buy another cat, but there were so few cat breeds that I couldn't find one that looked like my real-life cat, Merlin.
Not to mention the fact that you need to spend much of what little money you have on your puppy first, buying him toys and a bed to sleep on. It should be called Nintendogs, and then eventually cats.
Yeah, and when you want to buy a cat, those cats are really expensive. I mean, some of them are thousands of dollars. Where was the option to just buy a little flea-bitten moggy? I would have loved him just the same. What I actually ended up doing was just setting it to pedometer mode and then putting the 3DS into my boot and then walking around, or, you know, tying it to the fan at home to get those steps up. So then I would then earn biscuits, which I could sell at the shop, and then get money so that I could then eventually buy a cat.
Well, next time you should just strap it to Darren and tell him there's a noob in the building.
A noob? Where? Where?
See how much he jiggles?
Perfect. If you want to go crazy, you can also buy weird and embarrassing accessories for your pet, like glasses or a hat. I kind of just felt sorry for little Gandalf when I made him wear this silly red beanie.
I think it's great the way your pet responds to you. The game has facial recognition, so if you put your face really up close, it'll come up and greet you, but if someone else does, he may react badly.
And there's also the Street Pass function, which means that passing other Nintendogs plus cats players on the street, or on the train or at school, will cause their me character and pet to show up in your in-game park. You both have to have Street Pass mode enabled, though.
Final thoughts, Hex?
Well, I think if you're a fan of Pet Sims, you'll really enjoy this, even though it's not that different from the original. But I think you'll enjoy it more if you're unable to have a real-life pet of your own. Personally, cleaning up Merlin's actual poo is enough for me. I don't need to go and clean up digital poo on top of that. But I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think they didn't do too much with the cat side of things because there's only so much you can do with a cat. You can't really train them or take them for walks. But, you know, as far as pet simulations go, I think you really can't go past this one. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Right, Bajo, time for your walkies.
Yes, please.
Now make sure you do your business outside. Remember what happened when you left that little present on the rug?
I already said sorry about that.
Apologies won't get the smell out, Bajo.